The quickest way to destroy your ego of a Negro, the quickest way to destroy an ego of a Negro is to say, what do you have to offer me besides what you own? Because everything you just gave me, you can lose it. You can get into an accident and lose your body. You can lose that car. You can lose your job. You can lose that house. Your house can burn down tomorrow. What do you have to offer this relationship besides merchandise? Because I'm not looking for merchandise. I want to talk about the hypnosis of European capitalism, the hypnosis of European capitalism, the hypnosis of European capitalism. There are a lot of miserable Africans throughout the diaspora. There are a lot of miserable Africans throughout the diaspora. There are a lot of miserable Africans throughout the diaspora. And the main reason why you have so many miserable Africans throughout the diaspora, whether they go to church, whether they go to the mosque, whether they go to the temple, whether they go to the Jehovah's Witness Hall, they might be Ifa devotee, they might be Voodoo devotee, they might be Lukumi devotee, they might be Santeria devotee, they might be Kemetic science devotee. They might be millionaires, they might be billionaires, they might be middle class, they might be upper middle class, they might be working class. But do you know why so many of us remain spiritually unhealthy despite being masters of religious doctrine? You know why we still remain spiritually unhealthy? The reason we remain spiritually unhealthy is we do not invest in ourselves. When I say invest in ourselves, I'm not talking about opening up a new business, although that's a good thing. I'm not saying starting a new relationship, although that's a good thing. I'm not talking about starting to exercise and work out, although that is a good thing. I'm not talking about finally buying your first home or a new home, although that's a good thing. I'm not talking about going back to school to get another master's or finish your doctorate, although that's a good thing. When I say invest in yourself, I'm asking, how much time do you spend? How much money do you spend? How much energy do you spend investing inside yourself? Many of my beautiful African queens, you invest in the way you look heavily. Black women invest in the way they look heavily. You invest in eyelashes, you invest in hair, you invest in tummy tuck, liposuction, you invest in fat ass, big. You invest in the way you look. But you don't spend half of the money you spent on your body. You don't spend half the money that you invested on your body trying to improve your inner self. All of your sacrifice was for your outer self. Black man, you invested in a new car. You invested in some new clothes. You invested in a new body. You got your six-pack back. You invested in a new business. You invested in your education. You invested in your crypto, but you didn't do no investing in your psychological, emotional, and spiritual self. ESP. Where is your ESP investment? Not extrasensory perception, but the emotional self, the spiritual self, and the psychological self. The reason America is so unhealthy, the reason this planet is so unhealthy, because it's ran by yellow people and white people. Let's just be honest. Chinese and Europeans run this planet. Yellow people and pale people run this earth. They run it. And the reason this world is so sick, everybody's unhealthy. It don't matter how rich you are. It don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter how good you look. Most people in this world are unhealthy souls because everybody is hypnotized by European capitalism. And the hypnosis of European capitalism, the hypnosis of European capitalism, the hypnosis of European capitalism basically says, you will feel better when you look better. You will feel better when you make more money. You will feel better when you buy a better house. You will feel better when you drive a better car. You will feel better when you get a more attractive mate. You will feel better when you enjoy yourself more. That's the hypnosis. We have been hypnotized by European capitalism. The white man has invested billions of dollars into convincing black people in order to feel better, you have to spend money. Spending money equals happiness. Our children have been brainwashed with this. Our men and women, why do you think when you go to church, everybody is trying to look like $1 million? That ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. That ain't got nothing to do with spiritual health. It's because despite your religious identification, despite your religious identification, psychologically and unconsciously, you have been hypnotized by white commercial propaganda. You have been hypnotized by white commercial propaganda to believe that happiness is based on ownership of merchandise. The hip hop generation has been completely ruined and devastated by the hypnosis of European capitalism. Every gangster rapper lives their life on the hypnosis of European capitalism. All they have to offer you is how good they look in their cars, their planes, their clothes, their jewelry. The hypnosis of European capitalism. When I get another degree, I'll feel better. After I get my ass lifted, I'll feel better. After I get my tummy tucked, I'll feel better. After I bleach my skin, I'll feel better. Once I put these window shutters on my eyes, disguised as eyelashes, I'll feel better. Once I get a better looking woman, I'll feel better. Once I make more money, I'll feel better. Once I get that new Benz, I'll feel better. Nothing outside of you improves what is inside of you. Nothing outside of you will improve what's inside of you. Nothing outside of you will improve what's inside of you. But in order for you to embrace that, you're going to have to take a long look in the mirror at your spiritual, psychological, and emotional deficits. Your spiritual, psychological, and emotional deficits. When is the last time you took an accounting of your spiritual, psychological, and emotional deficits? You take accounting of your financial. You take accounting of your motor vehicle. You take accounting of your clothing, your hairstyle, your dating, your education, employment. We take accounting of everything except our emotional, spiritual, and psychological deficits. You will put millions of dollars into how you look. You will put millions of dollars into how you drive. You will put millions of dollars into your wardrobe. You will put millions of dollars into a home, but you will not invest that type of time, energy, or money into feeling better, thinking better, and having a deeper connection to source. Retail therapy. There you go, sister. Sex therapy, restaurant therapy, retail therapy. Say it again. Sex therapy, retail therapy, and restaurant therapy. Say it again. Sex therapy, retail therapy, restaurant therapy, and of course, alcohol, marijuana, and drug therapy. Let us not forget chemical therapy. Let us not forget chemical therapy. Let us not forget chemical therapy. Alcohol, opioids, marijuana, cigarettes, crack, Let us not forget chemical therapy. Chemical therapy, sex therapy, restaurant therapy, and retail therapy. That will not make you feel better. The whole world is run on bluff. When you look better, you got to convince people you feel better. When you drive better, you got to convince people you feel better. When you make more money, you got to convince people you feel better, until you run into people whose life isn't built on money and merchandise. Your whole empire crumbles. Until you meet people whose life isn't based on money or merchandise, and then your whole empire crumbles. Until you meet people whose life isn't built on money and merchandise, until your whole empire crumbles. It's the black woman who runs into a black man. She fine as hell. She got money, car, look good, 5'5", thick in the thighs, ass poked out. And the brother says, that don't do nothing for me. What you got going for yourself personally? Say, what do you mean? I'm an attorney. I got a $250,000 job. I drive a caddy truck. I got the biggest house. What do you mean? What else do I have going on? What else do you have going on? Because all you giving me is your material assets. I can't build a family with a woman who's only concerned about how she looks on the outside. What else do you have to offer me besides a big house, a big check, and a big car? And a big ass? Is that it? That's all you coming to my table with, sister? Is a big ass, a big check, a big house, and a big car. And it goes the other way for men. Black woman, you ever have a man approach you and he just know he was going to sweep you off his feet with what he had? Black woman, have you ever had a brother approach you who just knew he was going to sweep you off his feet with what he had? Black woman, you ever had a brother approach you who thought he was going to sweep you off his feet with everything that he had? He had a nice body, good job, nice car, big house, college degrees, lawyer, doctor, engineer, business owner. And then you said, what do you have to offer me besides what you own? And he looked at you like you was crazy. You just emasculated his whole ego. You just crumbled his whole empire in one question. That's the difference between spiritually based people and materially based people. That's the difference between spiritually based people and materially based people. That's the difference between spiritually based people and materially based people. The quickest way to destroy your ego of a Negro, the quickest way to destroy an ego of a Negro is to say, what do you have to offer me besides what you own? Because everything you just gave me, you can lose it. You can get into an accident and lose your body. You can lose that car. You can lose your job. You can lose that house. Your house can burn down tomorrow. What do you have to offer this relationship besides merchandise? Because I'm not looking for merchandise. When a black man tells a black woman he's looking for more than what she owns, she don't know what to do. When a black woman tells a black man she's looking for more than what he owns, you just unrattled their entire universe. That's why I love being spiritually centered. At least I try to be. I try to be spiritually centered as much as I can, because when you spiritually centered, you don't need nobody or nothing except peace of mind. When you are spiritually centered, you don't need nobody or no thing except peace of mind. I see people every day living the rat race of materialism. Black women who won't dare to walk out their house with a weave on their head. She will not walk out the door without a wig. That's how insecure she is about herself. Black men who won't come outside wearing less than $1,000 worth of clothes. That's his insecurity. Spiritually unhealthy Africans. All the merchandise, no spiritual fiber. Something go wrong in their life, they ready to commit. Something go wrong in their life, they ready to. Something go wrong in their life, they ready to. Because the whole life was based on material acquisitions. Don't you know we all leaving here one day? And I got to hop off this live. I got a dentist appointment. I got to hop off this live. I got a dentist appointment. I got to keep the pearly whites looking white. 3 people I know, I would have attended 3 funerals in 2 weeks. Young brother, Lancaster, PA, he joined the ancestors. My big sister from Millersville University, going to her funeral Saturday, she joining the ancestors. One of the community leaders of Camden, New Jersey, great elder of the community, he just joined the ancestors. 3 funerals in 2 weeks. It's not necessarily a bad thing. We come and we go. That's the divine cycle. The point that I'm making is you out here wasting your life chasing money and materialism. You don't even know how long you're going to live. You assume you're going to be here a century. You don't know that. You assume you're going to be here 80 years. You don't know that. You assume you're going to be here 60 years. You don't know that. One of the mysteries of life is nobody knows the last breath. No one knows when you take your last breath. Yes, I have Biggie Smalls' ringtone because I'm Big Papa. I'm Big Papa. POPA is an acronym for Prince of Pan-Africanism. I'm Big Papa. POPA is an acronym for Prince of Pan-Africanism, so I am also Big Papa. I'm also Big Papa. And BIG stands for Black Intellectual Gladiator. BIG stands for Black Intellectual Gladiator. BIG stands for Black Intellectual Gladiator. POPA, Prince of Pan-Africanism. But I'm going to close on this point and we're going to pick it up later. I'm going to close on this point and we're going to pick it up later. I'm going to close on this point and we're going to pick it up later. When you die, when you laying in that casket watching everybody cry over you, will you regret having wasted your 50 years, your 70 years, your 90 years, your 110 years? Will you regret the fact that you spent more than half of your life chasing money and materialism? I want you to think about that. Some of you have never lived a day in your life. You're too unconscious with the hypnosis of European materialism. You've never lived a day in your life. All you've done is pursued money, pursued coochie, pursued penis, pursued education, pursued a better life, pursued a business, pursued a college degree. Have you ever really lived? And my nightclub ninjas, let me say this to my nightclub ninjas and I'm going to pull off. Let me say this to my nightclub ninjas and I'm going to pull off. Let me say this to my nightclub ninjas. You think because you go to the club 2-3 times a week drinking and dancing and smoking, you think that's living? That ain't living. That's running away from your life. Let me say it one more time. My Distracticons. To my Distracticons, not the Decepticons. That's the Rainbow Gang. We talking about the Distracticons. What is a Distracticon? What is a Distracticon? A Distracticon is a spiritually, psychologically, emotionally unhealthy African who spend all their free time in entertainment. Let's go out. Let's go eat. Let's go to after 5. Let's go to happy hour. Let's go to the club. Let's go to the restaurant. You're running away from your life. How can you enjoy life when you're running away from your life? How can you enjoy life when you're running away from your life? Those are Distracticons. If you ever see anybody who live in the club, live on the strip, live for the next party, live for the next concert, they're Distracticons. They're distracting themselves from the things they need to be fixing in their lives. Never took a time out to be by themselves with God. Never took a time out to be by themselves with God. Never took a time out to be by themselves with God. Wasting your life in the pursuit The never-ending rat race and cycle of earning money and spending money. Earning money and spending money. That's the never-ending rat race. The never-ending rat race of spending money, earning money, spending money, earning money. Do you spend any time with your kids? Do you spend any time with your parents? Do you spend any time doing anything constructive in the community? Do you spend any time helping anybody? Have you lived? Because the essence of life is service. Service to the community. Service to the families. Service to the less fortunate. The essence of life is service. We're here to serve God. And we serve God by serving others. So if you're only serving your selfish ass self, if you're only serving your selfish ass self, you're not happy. I can ask you 3 questions and know if you're happy or not. I'm not impressed with your big ass, your big titties. You might look good, don't get me wrong. I'm going to check you out now. But I'm not impressed with that. Big car, big house, 50 degrees, and you never dealt with your parental abandonment. You never dealt with your sex abuse. You never dealt with your low self-esteem. You never dealt with your internalized racism. You a distracticon. This is King Kong Consciousness, Dr. Umar Tunde. Hit the Cash App, $ FDMG School. Hit the PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Tuesday, October 17th, Jersey City, New Jersey. I will be at the Urban League. Free lecture 6 to 9. My grand debut in Jersey City. Pull up. Omaha, Nebraska, Saturday, December 2nd. Pull up. Chicago, Illinois, Thursday, November, I forget the date. Is the November 17th, Chicago? Nat Turnerland, November the 11th. Pull up. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. If you need to text me, podcast interviews, radio interviews, YouTube interviews, 215-989-9858. This is your big brother, King Kong.